In today's video, my next in my series of showing you how to draw animals as letters of the alphabet using the iPad and Procreate. We've got W, and we're gonna be drawing this worm. Just like all my videos too, it's in real time, no time lapse, no edits, so you can follow along every single step of the way. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, I'm using a 4,000 pixel by 4,000 pixel 300 DPI canvas. It's an RGB canvas. For my brushes today, I'm going to be using my Creator's Set for Procreate, available for purchase on Gumroad. I'll leave the link down in the description below. We're going to start out using the Brainstorm sketch brush, move over to the Smooth Inker. If you don't have the set, don't want to pick it up, not a problem. Just feel free to follow along with another brush that's your favorite in Procreate. And then finally, the worm palette is pre-made. So if you want to download the exact same colors that I'm using in today's video, you can get that for free on my website. If you go to bjdell.com, underneath the YouTube reference materials page, I'll link all that down below too. You'll find that for free. So let's go ahead and begin using the black to start with. Brainstorm sketch brush. We need to get our W in there to kind of give us our guide to work off of. So we're going to go to our actions menu here, canvas. Oh, sorry, add text, W. We'll double tap W here and then tap on our font so we can change this over to Arial, just because that's what we've used for the whole series. And then we'll hit done. Then I'm going to come up here to the transform arrow with uniform and snapping on. I'm going to extend this out bigger. Then I want to make sure that we get an orange line in the center, top to bottom, and an orange line left to right. That lets us know that this is completely centered on our canvas. Not sure why I'm getting that one, but not the other one. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and hit N for blend mode then on our layers menu on our text. We're going to drop this down to about 10%. Want to be able to see it, just don't want it to be too dark. Then we're going to hold down on that text layer, drag it underneath layer 1. So this will be our sketch layer. Once again, using black, our first color on the color palette, and Brainstorm sketch brush here. So the way that I'm kind of visualizing this for the worm, not hard to imagine. Tail coming up here, down to the head over here. Pretty easy, pretty basic. So we can start with the head here and just kind of knock in an oval here for the head. I'm going to have this be a kind of 3/4 perspective here. So we can have that come down there. We'll have the neck come down into that little collar piece, whatever you want to call it. I don't know necessarily the technical or scientific term for that little collar piece on the worm. But then we'll kind of bring these around. So these, obviously, I'm not going to have a hard line there. I'm going to have a nice curve on the ends here. Bringing those back up. And I'm going to stop this one here. I'm not going to connect those, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and just do like a little curve line there. We're going to do the same thing here. These little kind of skin folds. So not only does this make the design, more interesting to look at, but the real magic is that it saves us from having to draw this huge line. We actually get those breaks there. So it's going to allow us a little bit more control over our lines. We don't have to be perfect because we've got more leeway there. As we bring those lines around, we can actually stop and start. All right, with that done then, we'll come in here to the face and kind of fine tune this. So we'll bring this one up to that neck and just kind of pull that back down. Maybe even have like a chin here coming back up. Just like that. The 3/4 perspective then we'll have an eye here on the left, an eye on the right. Just kind of darken those around. Maybe even have kind of, let's see, a line here pulling out. When it reaches the mouth here, it'll kind of pull back up. So I don't want this line to connect. I just want it to be going in the same direction to where your mind kind of fills that in the rest of the way there. Get the mouth in here, little tongue, the curved line here for the inside portion of the mouth, and then kind of fill that in. Maybe even on the eyes here, we'll pull up kind of like some smile lines, cheeks there. You can even pull in some smile lines back there. Some ovals here for the pupils, and then another oval for the iris there. Some tapered lines here for the eyebrows. And I think I'm going to leave the head. I was going to maybe go around and do some more breaks in the head, like pulling in, you know, the eyes here and back out. I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of cute. I think I am going to do that. I was going to leave it totally round there, but I think that does look pretty cute. All right, we'll have some kind of tapered lines there coming around. And then on these, the body, of course, will have the lines here, which I'm not going to do those completely throughout the whole thing, just because this is the sketch. We're going to have to go back in and re-ink those anyways, so it's kind of stupid to waste the time there, so we'll leave it as is. So there's our sketch. From here then, we're ready to go on and move on to our inks. So to begin our inks, we're going to come up here to our layers menu. I'm going to make a new layer on top of layer 1. And then I'm going to turn off my text layer. So now we just have the sketch layer underneath. We'll hit N for blend mode on the sketch layer and drop this down to about 30%. We want to be able to see it. We just don't want it to be too dark. And then for my brush, I'm going to switch this over to the smooth inker. I'm going to tap on this and open Brush Studio. And under stabilization, I want to max this out. So when I do the lines, I want a nice smooth stroke, and that will help to alleviate if you've got like some shakiness to your stroke or any hesitation. That'll give you a smoother line. All right, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to begin here with the head. Go ahead and pull this line up. Once again, this one's coming here, so I'll kind of follow it up. Pull this line up and around, back in. Stop there at the eye. Pull it back out and around, up to the chin there. For the eye then, we'll pull lighter line to a heavier line to a lighter line. Same thing here, lighter pressure, heavier pressure, lighter pressure. And with that, that'll be something that you get used to with practice. I'm going to zoom in here even further so I can get this line in here. I want it to match up with that line. So I want to be able to come in really tight on there to be able to see really well where those lines need to match up at. Get an oval in here. Let's start from the top here. Oval for the pupil. Oops. Sometimes if you're holding down to do a shape like that and you've got too small of an area, you'll get kind of a funky geometric shape as a result. So you might not be able to hold down to lock in shapes on every single shape that you're making. Pull the smile line back in here. And then once again, these crow's feet smile lines. I'm going to make these a little bit thinner though. We'll pull those back. Some tapered lines here for the tongue. Maybe some dots in here on the cheeks or the creases of the eyes there. I think that looks cute. Now I'm going to hold down on the background to select white, and I'm going to knock in some highlights here on the eyes. Hold down to select black here again, and then we'll get the eyebrows in there. My eyebrows, I like to go heavier on the underside and then lighter on the top there to give kind of the feel of a shadow or a heaviness to that top, or to the bottom, to where the shadow would be, and a lightness to that top. All right, back to my brush here. Let's kind of continue on. Kind of once again matching this line up. Because once we come down from this section, we need to make sure that this looks like that line is continuing back here. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So once again, here we've got that streamline turned on. So as long as we take our time and follow that, it should give us a fairly smooth line. Holding down my eraser, we'll select the same eraser that I'm using to sketch with or to draw with, so I can pull back some of those lines. And then this one I'm going to zoom in pretty tight here so I can get the result I want from that line, and then to be able to see here where this one's going to come into. Okay, I can erase these here. And now for this one, I'm going to come up here to my layers menu. I'm going to make a new layer, because what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to come inside those lines that I've already drawn to get the stroke where I want it to be, and I don't have to worry about stopping there for those bottom ones. And then since they're on separate layers, what I can do then, I can come back to my layers menu. Let's stay on that layer for now. I can erase these overlaps here, and then I can come down underneath that to that last layer, and I can erase those overlaps. So it gives me a lot of control over the start and stop of that line, and it makes it super easy to get a nice result there where all the lines match up. All right, continuing on here, I can go ahead, either pinch those together, or since I'm still on this layer here, I can then come in here and I can do these lines. Once again here, going outside of those lines, so then I can erase, and I get the same results that I'm initially looking for by being on that different layer, and I don't have to worry about hitting those lines that I've already done. Okay, I'm going to go back to that layer 4 that I did here. We'll use that for these lines, because once again, I don't have to worry about hitting those lines that I've done here. So we'll bring this one around. We'll try that one more time. I'll bring it back. This one will probably take a few attempts, just because number one, we need to get the shape right over here, but we need to have that same distance between that back line and the front line, and then also the same distance here to where these are going to meet at. So I've got it stopped there. We can zoom in now and kind of fine tune that fold and crease overlap there. Okay. Maybe even pull out a little bit on the sides there. All right, continuing on then, we'll do the crease and fold here. And then I can move back to that previous layer here, that layer 3, to do this next one. All right, this one's going to be the big one here, so we're going to go up, around, and all the way back in. So this one, once again, will probably take a few attempts to get it to look right. I'm going to widen. I wanted to widen it out a little bit from the tip there. I don't want it to be too crazy. I think that looks pretty good. It's a little thin there. Once again, this is just trial and error. If you don't get it right the first time, don't feel bad. Sometimes I'll do a line 20, 30 times before I'm happy with it. I'm just a perfectionist with my lines when I'm doing my personal work. Sometimes on these videos especially, I don't try to get a line perfect, and usually try 1 or 2 times is about it, rather than redrawing it over and over again. But yeah, on my personal work, seriously, I will draw a line 20, 30 times before I'm happy with it, just because I want it to look perfect. A lot of it comes down to, you know, the ends and the tapers and how the lines connect, but that kind of gives you an idea. Okay, so that looks good. I think I'm going to pull in one more crease over here. Pull one more back. We'll erase that layer 4 just to pull that back to have room to do the crease. Pull one more crease in there. Okay. So there we go. Let's go ahead then, before we finish out here with the inks, we'll pinch those layers together. I'm going to make another new layer here, and then I'm just going to bring in those tapered lines here around. And once again, I'm doing this on a different layer so I can come outside here and I don't have to worry about erasing, and it gives me the ability to go through this really fast. If I was doing this making sure that nothing else was being hit and the lines were stopping exactly where they should, it would take me a lot more time to do this. So this is number one, in addition to making it quicker, it also gives you the ability to do it without having to worry about the jerkiness of stopping a line. A lot of times when you stop a line at the end, you might have some hesitation lines, jitters. If you're starting out a line, you might have some hesitation. So this way of doing it, you get the speed from it and you also get better results. Then all it takes is just coming around the outside edges here just to remove those overlaps. All right, and there we go. I think I'm going to pull this one though. I don't really like it there where the creases are. Same thing with this one, that one as well. I want to keep those kind of solo. So, all right, so we'll pinch those together. We'll turn off our sketch layer, and that's what we're left with for our inks. So from here then, we're ready to move on and add the color flats. So to begin the color flats, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our layers menu. I'm going to tap on layer 3. I'm going to set this as reference. This is going to allow us to drag and drop the colors into the new layer that we're about to make. So we're going to come underneath layer 3. We're going to make a new layer. Come up to my color palette here, and we've got the lighter pink here. We'll use that for the head here, and then for the body. The darker pink then, we'll use this for the collar there, the tongue, and I think that's good. And then the darker pink here we'll use for the inside part of the mouth, and then we'll use that for the eyebrows too. Yeah, let's use this color here for the collar for the eyebrows. I think it looks better. Next up, we've got white. We'll use that for the eyes. Those do need filled in because our background's white. Looks like they're filled in, but they're not. And then finally, the blue for the iris. This, you can see I hit the line there. So this is where you really have to zoom in because you want to make sure you don't hit the lines. You want to make sure you're filling in the areas instead of the lines. All right, and there we go. So our color flats are done. Super fast, super quick, super easy. From here then, we're ready to move on and do the next part, which is adding the shadows. So to begin the shadows, what we're going to do is come up here to our layers menu. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to tap that layer and I'm going to set it as clipping mask. So this allows us to color in on this layer, and it's only going to show up on the parts that are colored in on layer 4. So with that done then, our highlights here on the eyes are off to the left. So our light source is coming in here from the top left. So highlights are going to be top and the left, shadows bottom and the right. So now that we've got that decided, we can go ahead and get started. I've got this dark purple then for the shadows. I'm going to go back to my smooth inker here. I want to make sure the streamline's turned on, which it is, so we're good there. And zooming in here, we'll just start pulling in some shadows. I'm going to get fairly big area back here kind of blocked in. Pulling underneath this mouth here and the underneath the chin back here. I'm going to bring this up all the way around here. And connect everything. Once it's connected, then I can come back in. And the first thing I need to do is I need to turn off reference on layer 3. If I fill it in right now and drag and drop that color, it's not going to fill in this section. It's going to fill in the entire head. So we'll turn off reference, and then that layer 5, drag and drop. It's filling in everything. So I've got somewhere here a gap in my lines where I'm trying to connect everything. So I need to hit those edges again. Make sure it's probably this area right there. And drag and drop again, and you'll see now it just fills in that area that I had blocked off. I'm gonna hit the layers menu again because I want to drop my opacity now. So I'm gonna hit N for blend mode, and we'll bring this down. I think about 35% looks pretty good. I'll just kind of continue around here, adding some shadows into the eyes here, a little bit back there on the iris. I'm going to hit here underneath this eyebrow, have it pull back in here. Just always like to have underneath the eyebrows shadowed in because it really makes the eyes pop there. All right. Hit a little bit inside the mouth here, back side of the tongue. Continuing down here, I'm going to kind of curve this down like that, and then I'll continue that curve so it like curves in and then back around like that. Connecting those lines and dragging and dropping. I think I'll pull that back just a little bit here. I don't really like it that far out. That looks a little bit better. Then I can pull in a curve here. I think that looks a little bit more natural. Then I'm going to back this one up then too. There we go. A little bit of a leftover there, so I need to knock that out. Okay. Pulling back so you can kind of see where we're at here. We'll continue this around, pulling the shadow down underneath there, and then back up. Once that's connected, then I can drag and drop into there. Same thing here, have a little bit of a shadow there. Coming underneath that skin fold. Just kind of bringing our canvas around. I got a little bit of an overlap there for that line. I'm not going to mess with it though. I do realize it's there. Once again, for my personal art, I would be zooming in and out a lot and just making sure everything is 100% perfect. But these videos, I just like to make them quick and watchable, so I'm not obsessing over details for the entire thing. I'm going to grab white here, and we're going to move on then because we are done with the shadows. So let's go ahead and do our highlights next. So to do this, we're going to come up here to our layers menu. I'm going to make a new layer on top of this one here that was our shadows layer. We're going to tap on this and hit clipping mask again. You'll see we've got the little arrows here with the pointing down direction. They're all coming down and pointing to layer 4. So you can do multiple layers on top of each other and have them all set as clipping mask, and they're all going to clip to this layer. The problem is if you have anything in between, it's going to break up that daisy chain. So we've got them on top. We're good to go. Once again, that light source coming in from here. So we'll have some pretty big highlights in this area. Just going to do some cool shapes for the highlights coming in there. We'll hit the edge there. I'm also going to make a little bit bigger of a brush here. And we'll bring in a highlight down on that side. Same thing here, highlight there. Some oval ones up there. And then we'll move on here to this side, dropping my size of my brush back down. Hitting the edge there, and then along the face and the cheeks. The left side of the face here. And then maybe, oops, You get kind of some oval highlights here on the top of the head. There. A couple here along the brows too. And then this cheek. Get one there. On the tongue. Maybe kind of some tapered ones right there. I think that looks good. And then on the bridge of the nose right here. The bridge of the nose, the bridge of the face, whatever. Not so much a nose, but you get the idea. All right, so there we go. Let's go ahead and come up to our layers menu, drop the opacity of this one down to about maybe 40%. Looks pretty good. Maybe 45. 42. I think that's pretty good there. All right. And then finally, I'm going to bring the shadow a little bit more on that bottom layer here, or the bottom section here. The way that this one is here, I want this one to kind of have that same feel to it. Since this is in the back, it's going to have the same, if not more, shadow back there. So pulling that there to match up, I think that does a lot more. I'm also going to zoom in here, and with this one, I'm actually going to bring it around up into that fold. Just once again to give a little bit more of an interesting design here. Having the crease there like that definitely adds more than just leaving that completely blank or empty there. Yeah, and I think that looks pretty cool there. We can also do it over here too if we want, so those kind of match up. You get that same feel for it. Pulling that curve around there. Same thing here. We can pull that one back a little bit further. Yeah, I think that looks cool. And then finally here, we'll pull just a tad bit under this one. All right, there we go. Last thing I want to do is just make a new layer. Come in here with black and sign this guy. We will be done with today's video. So there we go. Worm for W. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. If you like today's video, definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you can get notified when I post new videos. We're almost done. We've got X, Y, and Z left. So 3 more videos. If you do have a suggestion for any of those, definitely leave it down in the comments below. You might see your idea brought to life in one of these last videos. So thanks again for watching. If you follow along with any of these as well, feel free to post them online and share them. If you're on social media, tag me at BJDell, Instagram, X, Threads, all those. Love seeing what you guys come up with, so share away. As for me, I can also be found online, bjdell.com. And that's it for today's video. Almost done with the series. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep creating.